Josh, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Long time no see.
So I
It
don't know.
has been a while. I think about you guys often, though.
Yeah, but I don't know if you know this. So you were episode 7 on
Yeah.
Straight Grooves, and now you're episode 127.
So 120 episodes later.
And I think that is so cool.
It's very cool. Very cool.
It's very cool. Yeah, no, we're excited to have you. A lot's been going on since 100 episodes ago.
Yeah, I guess for both of us, lots have been going on. We're getting old.
Isn't that the Jeez, way to lay it down. That's pretty fast. Jesus Christ, gonna open the ginger ale for that one.
It's just the way it is,
Yeah.
So
that's a real one.
So I guess one of the reasons we kind of circled back again is that we were at the Music New Brunswick conference 506 a few weeks back, and unfortunately we had to leave a bit early, so we didn't get a chance to catch up there. But just kind of curious to see sort of how the conference was for you. And we also heard that you gave a really awesome presentation to a workshop.
From multiple sources, we've heard this.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I will first speak on the conference was great. The whole weekend was amazing. It's so good to be able to, it's still so fresh to be able to be back with people, experience these conferences with people. I'm sure that both of you have had delegate meetings or meetings within these conferences over the past 3 years that have been, just virtual as we are right now. It's so nice just to be able to really, meet with people and be with people. So that was cool. It felt normal, whatever normal is, but it felt like everything was back to normal. So it was really great. Got to go to Zero's for the first time, that new bar in Moncton, which was awesome. Had a fun show there. Got to experience a lot of new up and coming New Brunswick artists that without that platform, without things like Music New Brunswick, I would never be able to. Well, I would. It would be a lot more work for me to discover these artists.
Right. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, those showcases were. Oh man, there are so many young people in this province that are just.
I was extremely blown away by Mess.
Yes.
Okay.
They're on my list now. They're fucking good. Pardon my, well, not French, but literally they're so good. We were in the back of the studio, just watching all the different screens and all the different backdrops go as they were just setting up, doing sound check. And it was really quite amazing because, we've grown up with a lot of bands that didn't necessarily have those sources or that, or anyone to kind of teach them what they could have or how to get grants and stuff. So it really does play such a critical part into the ecosystem. And then being able to go to workshops with folks like you who really are keeping it real with how they've been through the industry, how burnout has affected them, how playing music and being around other people affects them. And I think that's the real things that people are going for. It may not necessarily to learn about data breaching or about Spotify playlists, but those are perks as well, right? But you're right. I think it's getting back to normal with people is important for sure.
Exactly. There was this artist from more northern New Brunswick, close to Miramichi. Her name's Maud, and she blew on my mind.
Such a kind person. We did an interview with her. So phenomenal.
Yeah, so it's exciting, for me as well, because I think as a musician in New Brunswick and playing around, and I don't get to play hometown shows very often anymore. They're more sparse than they used to be. It's so great to find these people or be exposed to these people. Not that I'm discovering them at all, but that they're being shown to me through Music New Brunswick, and then this gives me a whole opportunity to be hey, I'm playing this show in Fredericton here, and I'm going to have this person that I saw that is up and coming. That's amazing. They're going to open the show because So it just it's such a good opportunity to take you outside of that like norm of bands that you're always seeing, you know, and not that those bands are bad at all, but it's nice to be exposed to something new and fresh. And these people are young. They're like 19, 20 years old, and they're just killing it. Hell yeah.
And they're not like they're doing the workshop thing like 10, 15 years before me and all my peers were, right? And like they're wanting to learn it the right way the first time instead of, throwing money at the wall or, wasting other grants and things just to find out that they may not be any good or that they don't want to roll their sleeves up and do what they have to do to be good, So yeah, we were blown away by the conference, and not that we didn't think we would be, but I think it was a huge breath of fresh air to like meet the guys from Meet Mode. Like there's so many cool people that we didn't realize were right at like under our nose.
Exactly.
Right? But when you're right in the bubble all the time, you operate in your own bubble. Even if you're trying to know what's going on in the region, you tend to you're in a silo. So we were like, wow, like it was such a fun day.
Absolutely. And because in 2020 that the pandemic kind of kicked off, it's like we hit a pause button on discovering new things because we couldn't. People like me and yourselves, like we discover new things through things like those conferences or going out to live music. It's that opportunity was taken away, especially for those super young artists like Mode, that she wasn't able to play live legally in bars. You know what I mean? Like before the pandemic. So like this person was a stranger. They weren't able to like come to Fredericton, to come to the Capitol Complex or go to St. John. So it's so cool. Like we hit a pause button and now we hit play again, and there's this whole revival almost of just insane.
That's a cool way to put it, but you're right.
Yeah.
It definitely did happen for sure, because there are definitely people who are busy and creating and making and buying instruments, some for the very first time, and like they ended up being very good, right?
Yeah.
And not having maybe the same scarcity or fear mindset that maybe touring musicians maybe had about like the level of pressure about putting out material. So that's been interesting to watch too, because we're not musicians, right? So we tend to just see how people are doing it, the ones that want to do it a little bit harder, and do they go to conferences like this? Do they reach out to people to try to be better? Do they work with recording studios, find grants? And if they just try to DIY it, it's probably going to end up being that kind of result.
Yeah,
everything, right? And I think ego is a big part of like creativity. So I think like we saw a lot of that, which was really humbling from the younger people at Music New Brunswick.
Mm-hmm.
And just them like show up and like make cool shit just reminded us that like that's all we really have to do. We don't have to, maybe like for example, be focused on a guest list or our parties or gear. Like it's just about getting out there and making things.
Right? Yeah, they were so genuine and nice, and so everyone was just so kind. Yeah. It was a great weekend, and like you mentioned before, I got to speak on a panel about burnout and mental health in the music scene, which when the idea was spitballed to me, it funny enough, it kind of gave me a little bit of anxiety because I don't consider myself the picture boy of mental health, but by all means, like kind of it's when you still struggle with something so greatly, even to this day, but you've come leaps and bounds. It's hard to tell people what the right thing to do is. So I kind of went into that panel not wanting to tell anyone, or I gave advice, but like not really, like I didn't want to steer anyone in any direction because I don't know what's right, or wrong. I've been doing this for a long time. I've dealt with mental health issues since I was 8. I started impersonating Elvis when I was like 6. So I've been on stage with anxiety, depression, you name it, for my whole life. And now, over 20 years later, it's like I still don't have it figured out. I don't know what I don't have the answer. It's like, oh yeah, this is what you need to do. Or I could tell like yeah, you know, you can go to your shows, you know, don't drink before your show, get on stage, play the best you can, get off, and then maybe. But for me, it's like, I don't know. I just went in there to be as real as possible and to be like, you know what? This industry is fucked, basically. I can swear on this podcast, right?
100%.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Like what we're doing is really, really hard, no matter who you are. And basically, drugs and alcohol are going to be thrown in your face as payment, basically.
Yep.
And it's kind of like how you deal with that / being on the road and being just like tired all the time and how you deal with that. There's so much to deal with, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically just wanted to go in and be like, look, I don't know, but I'm on medication, you know?
Yep.
But yeah. But it was really great. I actually spoke on the panel was a woman named Stacey McLean. She's a therapist. And we really connected. And now she's my therapist. So
there you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that's what it's about. And like, I can tell you already, we already had people on the podcast that we just recorded talk about how impactful your workshop was.
Yeah. And I think to your point, you know, Josh, when you said like, I didn't want to go in and like prescribe anyone anything or tell anyone what to do. I think, you know, but I think what resonated with people, it seems, is that you kept it real and you were vulnerable and you shared your experience, you know what I mean? And, you know, how you just coped with stuff. And I think often that's what a lot of people need in moments, just to know that they're not alone, right? Or it's not just me going through this. It's not like I'm not weird, I'm not weak. It's, you know, and to have someone of your caliber say, yeah, I'm going through this shit too. And this is how, you know, this is how I'm dealing with it. I'm sure, you know, it's what resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah, big time. And, you know, challenging the status quo, whether it be about, you know, artists being paid, not just fair, but like, well, right? A lot of these places, like we deal with it all the time where it's like, you know, like bars are making a ton of money off the liquor sales and whatever, but they're like really just taking a cut of everything that comes to like bands, merch. It's crazy. And it's like, meanwhile, you're making thousands of dollars off them. Like pay them adequately, make sure there's security, give them a place to stay. God damn it. Right. Feed them and like make it so that they want to tell everybody else in the circle to play your venue. You know, don't just be a mediocre place for cool shows to happen. Like that's not where we wanted to spend our time as we get older. So I think, you know, gearing up and giving a shit and like actually like knowing that people don't just settle for the status quo is something I think that we've heard people take away from it as well. Because you know, even just knowing that other people feel that way means that they won't be an outlier in the system. So if they speak up, they know that most people are feeling that as well, and they might actually get some support.
Because that burnout comes from, you know, playing venues that, you know, you don't get paid adequately, and I mean, to find accommodations at every single night on the road is, you know, difficult for anyone.
Yep.
But like that's a huge thing for the Hypochondriacs. It's like we're a band of 6. We're not the youngest band in the world. We don't want to sleep on fucking floors. No. Fucking. It's like we need to make enough money that we can sleep in beds, and like we don't mind sharing beds.
No, but there's got to be some level of, you know, standard, right? That is comfortable, that allows you to not lose money while being on the road or playing those shows, right? So, and that would be music, marketing, no matter what you do. You can't take a loss just because it's fun, right?
Yeah, I've gone to live shows before where people like will literally during their set ask if they can sleep on someone's floor. It's like,
yeah, it's really not
cool. I feel like that is like a touring music scene culture thing that some like hardcore road dogs feel like is the right way to do it, but fuck that. No way. I'm not doing that. Like, you know, it's like, I need a pillow.
Facts, fair, yes. Cheers to that. Like really. Yeah. No, cheers to that.
So speaking of the Hypochondriacs, how has since we last chatted, there's been a global pandemic and a few years in between.
You guys have been busy.
You guys have been busy. So I guess
you went to Calgary recently.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. So what's sort of been up with you guys, and how are you guys sort of, you know, how you guys been doing coming out of the pandemic and going and playing shows again and whatnot?
well, the pandemic was wild, with, basically stopping playing shows. We lost our drummer. We had to hire a new drummer. It was intense, but over the past year and a half, since we've been coming out of it, we hired on an amazing manager at Just Right Music, Tiffany Martin, and she's been working so hard with us, and because I'm a bit of a scatterbrain, and I need someone to tell me where to go, where to be, at what time. I basically be like, okay, here you are, Josh, at 7 p.m. on November 23rd. You're gonna sit down in front of your computer with Strange Grooves, or else it was gonna go. So we hired on Tiffany. It's been amazing. We got to go. We went out west for Breakout West. We had some amazing opportunities at the East Coast Music Awards. Both of those things are providing opportunity for us in the future. We met some really, really cool people through Tiffany, through those, Breakout West and ECMAs that, in the new year, there's going to be some great things announced. But yeah, the album came out. It's doing pretty good.
Yeah, I love it.
Seems everything is good. It's
You always just got to look around the corner there.
You're just like, what? Okay, it's going too good. What?
It's not going too good. I mean, everything's great. I don't know what else to ask for. Coming out of this is a slow grind. Because everyone and their dog is touring. Everyone's releasing albums. Everyone's putting out new material. Getting gigs is hard.
Yep.
Literally everybody wants to play gigs, and of course they do.
Yeah.
So why book the Hypochondriacs? You know what I mean? So it's been a kind of a get what you can get kind of thing. But we've been super lucky with, again, things Breakout West and ECMAs to have those opportunities to get ourselves in front of people who are industry people who are booking, instead of grinding and touring, and which we want to do. But those things are very isolated, and you can get yourself in front of people really easily. So that's all great, because we couldn't get to Ontario this year. We had to fly straight to Calgary for X amount of days and just fly right home.
Yeah.
Touring wasn't really an option.
And now that restrictions are, a lot more tame, you can kind of plan. Yeah, everyone is kind of just kind of touring and doing it all at once. But you guys are thoughtful about your music, the dynamic that you have of your members. So it's not like you're just rushing to try to just put out the money shot, So right. I think having your manager like Tiffany and having other people and just being thoughtful about what the fuck do we want to accomplish? What do we want to do? Do we want to do more paid panels, get paid for the work that you're speaking on, paid panels, gigs that will make sure that all of your accommodations are in there. You don't have to vision board it, but if you set out and you say this is what's really important, then you'll make sure that that's there, right? At least that's what we try to do, anyways, or the advice that we give people or to clients, right? Because that's really all you can do. But I think
is when we go kind of circling back around to making sure our sleeping accommodations are good. And I didn't even speak on that on the panel, but I think that's so important for anyone that's doing any extensive work at all, whatever it may be. And I remember Andy Brown and I, Aided Towns, we did a few shows together pre-pandemic, and we were just kind of talking about touring, and I was kind of talking about how at that point we were just sleeping on floors and doing that kind of thing, sleeping where we can. And he said, some tours I lose money because I need my band. I want my band to have a place to sleep. And I put them up in hotels, because if they, are partying at someone's house till 3 or 4 in the morning and have to sleep on a floor, like it's not going to make for a great day the next day. So you
Exactly.
you need to set yourself up for success in that right too. Like you need to have that good sleep. You need to, wake up, be able to shower if you can and get a breakfast in you. I mean, it's super important, super important. And that's become very important to us as well over, basically since the pandemic. And like, we haven't done any extensive touring since, but that is something that we really, want to like make a priority.
Yeah, I think like ultimately too, like venues should strive to try to think about offering that, because it used to just be bare minimum, offer liquor and place to party and close the doors up, good to go. And then food was introduced and there was all these little outliers, right? But I know like one place that does it really well, like I just saw they made a post about it a few months ago, is Turbo House in Montreal.
Okay.
So like if you book a gig there, you get like a meal when you arrive, breakfast in the morning. They give you the apartment upstairs for you and the entire band. Like you're good to go. If you need, like you get 2 parking spaces. So if you have a van and you need to load out, like you get adequate parking. So there's all these questions that people would normally have to ask when they're touring. That's just completely done for them. So it makes them, if anything, they're on the top of the list for people all over the world now to go play in Montreal, right? Because they've gone above and beyond and said, you know what? If we're going to invest in a property and make it, a safe music space, why not give the ability to make sure that our people that we're bringing in to perform and showcase the space they eat, they're paid well, their stuff doesn't get stolen, and they have a place to sleep. And guess what? They'll tell everybody else that they should play here.
Man,
it's like, you can't do that.
So huge.
It's just like, Jesus Christ, like why even bother?
Yeah.
And I know it sounds so simple, and I know like not everyone can do it, but even just making sure that you give a couple $100 and letting a hotel nearby know that you have, hey, this is our programming for the month. If these bands reach out, could you give them a small discount? We'll pay a portion of it. But I think it just kind of, goes off the page a little bit. Like it's a backburnered idea. But I do know that, a lot of places locally, like the Cap's looking into it a little bit more, like New Music Space here is looking into that a little bit more, just to make sure people are safe. It's a big deal. You know what I mean? And as you get older, like it's not appealing for us to go and be like, oh, let's go to Toronto and do a podcast, but we don't have anywhere to stay. Like that wouldn't do that for my job. Why would I there's sometimes where you don't mind, winging it, but it's absolutely like you can't really build a business that way, like you said, or kind of get out for success. So yeah, I totally agree with that. But yeah, Turbo House, check them out. They're really cool. And their merch is really wicked.
Another venue, and like because I have this platform now, but in Perth Andover of all places, Heidi, who runs the Hullabaloo, she is like the most generous human being of all time. And I got to play at, I played her festival multiple times. And Tobic River Trading Company in Perth Andover is one of those venues as well.
Check it out. Never been there.
Yeah.
Oh,
never ventured.
Yeah.
Love that.
Never been
there you
there.
go, repping it.
That's sweet.
That's perfect.
And I think
I played there a number of times, and they are the fucking best, nicest people.
Was that a Matt May show?
No, this is one I played a few weeks ago.
No, because there was I think that they did one in Perth Andover, and I think it was Jamie Coleman, the Crooked Teeth, and Matt Mays, but it was in Perth Andover, and I think it was something.
Oh, that was Hullabaloo. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So because I was like, I know that name from somewhere, and I didn't know why, but yeah. Okay, that's what it was.
Because we went up on the night. So we played on like the Thursday this year, and then I think Jamie Como played on the Friday, and then I went back up for like what they call the Big Hullabaloo, which is
that's awesome.
Honestly, like, and it's so cool. They have this festival where no matter who you are, what you're doing, what position you're in, on the Saturday night after the headliner finishes, they have the Big Hullabaloo, which means like the headliner gets on stage and whatever musician wants to get up and play with them can. Like, how fucking cool is that?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I like
that. Yeah, it was awesome. And like, and I was lucky enough this year to be one of the musicians that was like kind of asked to like come up and be one of the musicians.
Media passes next year.
Yes. Perth Andover, we've been missing
Let's go.
Dude, it's a great festival.
Hey, the more you learn. I love that.
Yeah, and I cannot say, and Heidi, if you're listening to this, how much I love you, Heidi, and I love your festival and everything you do. I think she's one of the most important people in the New Brunswick music scene right now, and deserves more credit for sure.
Shout out to Heidi.
Yeah, shout out to Heidi.
Hell yeah, Heidi Baird, she's the best.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of applause for Heidi. Got to make it real.
We've definitely upgraded. See, we have sound effects now, Josh.
Yeah, that's big time.
We have a small
episode
cat.
7. Oh, and a cat. Episode 7, we didn't have cats or fucking applause.
I know that's what happens when you write it down and you just really look to success.
Yeah,
we all do vision board. I think going back around to that.
It's something. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
No, so good. So things have been well with you. That's awesome. Have you been, listening to anything real fun lately?
Well, it's no secret that I'm a big jam band fan.
Did you get on the Goose trend?
That's what I was about to say.
I knew it. Did you go to Portland?
My fucking on repeat.
Yeah.
YouTube, their live shows. I didn't go see.
I'm a little bit upset I didn't go to the Portland Trey show because that looked like a fucking blast. And I'm not a huge Goose fan, but I love Fish. I love Trey. But I love how Trey is because I watched if you go onto YouTube, the November 19th show is fucking awesome because the Fish live streams are very well produced, right? But Trey on his own looked like he was doing drugs again. He was jumping up and down and and I was like, I need to go see a Goose show because it's just a whole other dimension.
Yeah, Goose for sure. And then there's this kid. I say kid lightly. He's probably 19, 20 years old. Young adult man out of Saskatchewan. His name's Jake Vadaland. I'm probably pronouncing his last name wrong because
no.
Anyway, kind of stumbled across him on YouTube a couple years ago, and he's just so authentic country music. And I was like, oh, this guy's Canadian. That's cool. Not so much like Coulter Wall, but authentic like Coulter Wall. I don't know what's in the water up there. Anyway, so then when we went to Breakout West, I got to see him live.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he was fucking awesome. He was so good. His live show is insane. He is the most awkward little man, and he was great. His stage banter was something out of a 1940s radio show. It was I
knew you'd like that.
One that stuck with me was he was talking about his guitar player. I don't remember his guitar player's name, but let's say it's Jimmy. He goes, well, Jimmy, he said he only likes to have a drink before bed, and he went to bed 37 times last night. It was so and the crowd loved it. The venue saw him in looked like an old gymnasium too, Legion Hall. It was
love it. Yeah.
Fucking perfect. And yeah, so he's one to look out for sure.
Okay. Yeah. No, this is my always favorite part of when we interview people. And I knew you'd probably give us something that we hadn't been listening to yet. So I'm like, okay. That's good. What else? Anything else?
I tend to just kind of fall back on my favorites.
Yeah. Well, when you go into Goose, it's kind of hard, right? So it's once you're there, you kind of go deep into the.
It's boring, but I do just listen to a lot of the Grateful Dead.
Yeah. Wrong with Dead.
No.
It's all good in the hood, right? I always go down to everybody's either a Fish or a Grateful Dead fan. I always ended up being. My dad was a huge Grateful Dead fan. I was more of a Fish fan.
Yeah,
I think Trey is a monster, but I've never gone down the Fish rabbit hole. I'm ready to. I just haven't yet.
It's a lot, right? It's like deciding to watch Lost.
Right?
It's a lot. It's do you, or do you just do the highlight summary on, the greatest moments of Lost, right? You could probably do it in like top 100 greatest tracks of Fish, because there's a lot.
But that's what I liked about getting Into the Dead, because I didn't get Into the Dead until like later in my life, and that's why I listened to so much of them. And I'm sure it would be the same when I do the whole Fish rabbit hole. It's like there's so much content, it's never ending.
Yeah, that's true.
There's an app. I don't know if Fish has this app, but Grateful Dead has this app where has all their live shows ever that have been recorded. So they have like fan recordings or like audio board recordings, and you can like go to on this date, kind of like Facebook does with memories, and like you can go back to like, November 3rd, Grateful Dead played, Philadelphia, and in '72, and you can listen to that concert. Like,
that's dope.
Yeah, super cool.
I know some folks that do those recordings. I remember one time I went to a music store and I was like buying a Fish album, and he goes, "Hold up, how many Fish shows have you even been to?"
Oh, shut up.
And I was like, like 2. And he was like, no.
That's rude, because everyone everyone starts somewhere, right? Like every fan starts.
It's usually because they're just so passionate, right?
Oh, but they were once only been to 2 Fish shows, right? Like that was them once.
Now it's just like these people. They're like, we've been to 300 Fish shows. We have every ticket stub. No slight. If you're our Patreon, this is not a slight to you. We love you.
No, but there's people that are just like they love it, but then there's like being a dick to people that aren't on your level yet.
Yes.
Quick gatekeeping music, so people are allowed to like things whether or not they've listened to one album or one song.
That is true. Yeah. And same with genres too. I think people get like fixated on like what they think people will like or listen to. Whether it be like people like the last few shows that we've had, people are like blown away how much I love country music.
Right.
I'm just like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, it's very intricate, quite technical, a lot of harmonies. If anything, it's more metal than a lot of metal music. And like I grew up at my grandparents' house, and like CMT was always on. Like that's how I learned like about working hard and life, and like like that's just
love.
Yeah, and love, exactly. Trisha Yearwood taught me about love.
Yeah,
but anyway,
love, heartbreak, and whatever. But it's funny you bring that up, because I think that when you listen to those like grassroots kind of genres, whether it be country, blues, and then you kind of combine the two, you get rockabilly, rock and roll,
right?
All that stemmed from like gospel and slave music. It's like it's where it all stemmed from, That's where all this punk, hardcore, like Johnny Cash was probably one of the most punk artists out there.
Yep.
Punk as hell.
And you just reminded me of something, because I realized it's been a couple months since it's been out. But the only reason I went and watched the Elvis movie is because of your Facebook post. Because I waited for you to make a post, which is weird. It's not like I've got notifications on Josh Bravener's like Facebook, right? But I was just like,
great content.
I was like, you were going to give an honest answer about it. And then like I watched it and I thought it was really, really cool. I learned quite a bit that I didn't realize that I just didn't know, I guess. So yeah, just random tidbit. But yeah, it was your post that made me actually go watch the movie.
Oh, dude, I loved it. And like, I was actually talking about this today, but I'm the gloat right now. And like, I messaged Elvis's drummer's wife after the movie, and she responded, because I met her a couple times, and she loved it too. It was a great movie.
Yeah.
So
no, I think it created that emotional thing where people wanted to be like, it was a fucking great movie, or they wanted to message someone, or like to me, like I had talked to my Nan about it right before she passed, right? So it was just like an interesting, and she's who got me into Elvis, right? So it really it's a conversation starter all over again in a totally different way. So that's really cool.
And I think for me, it's because like being, an ex-Elvis impersonator for years of my life, I studied Elvis, and I learned about him, but I also like just studied mannerisms and his live performances. And I have also seen hundreds and hundreds of Elvis impersonators, but Austin Butler, like, say what you will, he fucking did an amazing job. I thought it was absolutely incredible. And like,
I have
Yeah,
not.
I've watched it 3 times.
I've been one. It's on my to watch list.
You can take it from mine if you want, because I've got it.
Oh no, I have it. Like it's on Crave now. It's just I needed to be like it's one of those movies where like I need to be like in the zone or like I need to watch.
It's long too, and it's a lot. It's a lot to. There's a lot of information to tackle.
Yeah, but I love music biopics and all music history and all that's digging into that. So I know I'm gonna love it. And the fact that it has your stamp of approval, Josh, I'm
Really interesting seeing Tom Hanks in that role too.
yeah.
I love
I've
how
seen
he can
photos.
just like be like a crazy like, like he really changes every role that he's in.
Yeah. Well, now they're making a George Jones and Tammy Wynette.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But
do you know who's gonna play it yet? No.
Yeah, it's done.
Oh no.
It's,
Yeah, I'm a liar. I saw the preview for it the other day. I'm a fucking liar. I know. I don't remember his name though.
I just looked it up recently.
Yeah.
Anyway, but George Jones was such a fucking piece of absolute human garbage. I don't know how it's going to play out, because I think the only way to make a good George Jones biopic is like you want to leave the theater fucking hating that guy. Like woman abusing, cocaine addicts. Music was great.
Yeah, but I mean,
Chuck Berry's music good too. I just don't. Yeah. I just hope they, make him a bad guy.
That's fair, man.
Yeah, it's
true.
I
love George Jones. I love his music. He was a huge inspiration for me. But I don't want them to I don't want it to be like some love story. Like I didn't even see the Hank Williams movie, but it's kind of what they did with that, is what I heard.
Yeah.
But I refused to watch that one. But
yeah, that's the thing, the risk you run with these biopics, depending like who's behind them and who's greenlit them. It's like, is it going to be like, all like rose-colored glasses about the person, or are they going to keep it real, or is it going to be balanced? And and especially in the case where it's like this person was actually like objectively to most people a piece of shit, like you gotta, you know what I mean? If they don't address that at least significantly, it's a lot of people probably are going to write it off, right?
True.
Michael Shannon plays George Jones.
Okay. Yeah.
And they're also making a movie about Priscilla Presley.
Oh.
Yeah. Have you guys watched Euphoria?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know the guy, that asshole Nate?
Yeah.
That's Elvis.
Crazy.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know why they wouldn't cross them over.
Yeah.
But anyways,
true.
Different perspectives, different shooting, I guess. It is what it is. Sort of off topic of Elvis, but same on country music. Oddly, I've been finding a lot of really good new country artists off the show Yellowstone.
Oh, I've been told to watch that.
Yeah. Now for me, like I don't like seeing and it's very rare, but sometimes like a horse will get hurt or whatever, and I'm just like, but like the stuff that's actually happening in like livestock and like crime and whatnot is like actually legit. And it's, the things that farmers and agriculture are facing are legit, but they're certainly not listening, maybe to Alan Jackson. Like they've got their own version of like country, and it's usually people that are local to like their own like areas of Indiana, Montana, those kind of places.
Right.
So they've been creating a lot of like playlists and stuff of like locals who they feature on the soundtrack, and it's pretty interesting. I've been getting a lot of music from Yellowstone.
I always appreciate TV shows that do that.
Yeah.
I know like Letterkenny, for instance, like they like at least in the first couple seasons anyway, they had like all like Canadian artists, like bands you'd hear like on CBC Radio 3 or even more obscure. That's what you always appreciate that.
Yeah, I definitely do for sure.
Yeah, everyone at work right now is saying to watch Yellowstone, but I just feel like there's so much to watch. And then I end up just watching like cooking videos on YouTube and then falling asleep on my couch.
It's a good life. It's a good life.
It's not bad at all.
No, I'm still watching new episodes of Hell's Kitchen. God, I love the chaos.
I just started Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, okay.
That's heavy.
That's heavy.
Yeah. It is.
A little bit different than Hell's Kitchen.
Yes.
Yes.
I just finished Dead to Me.
I finished The Crown.
Oh, okay.
See, now that doesn't appeal to me at all.
I don't know, like what, like, and it didn't really to me either, I thought, but then I started watching it. It's just really good acting and like character. And I guess I like history too. So I always, like I I find that period dramas, like certain ones, like especially that period.
Leave Diana alone.
Oh, the last season, it's spicy, but I don't know. Like I really liked it. But to each their own.
Yeah, I mean, fair.
Just thought I'd throw in my 2 cents of what I've been watching.
Hey, that's how we learn about the tunes and the good shows is on this podcast.
Exactly. This music podcast where we talk about our favorite Netflix series.
Exactly.
It's pretty good. So any plans in playing St. John in the New Year, coming to the new music hall that's coming?
We've messaged them.
Yeah. So I know booking will probably start happening in the next like few weeks, like once they open, like into January. But I definitely am like very excited to see you guys play there. The venue is like
Yeah, I'm super stoked.
real nice.
I mean, Sid and Abby they're just two amazing humans, and super, happy that they took the initiative to do this.
You're
and
doing
like,
it right, which I appreciate, and
right,
like doing the
and
due
like,
diligence, like,
and no shade at all to anyone, but like before, like we just had Pepper's Pub, which, sometimes was fucking awesome and a really, 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 really great venue. But sometimes it was hard because you're playing in a restaurant, and I'm glad that, St. John is getting, because St. John has fucking everything. It's such a great city. Best food, best nightlife, best, in my opinion, like if I'm going to spend a night somewhere and go out, for me, it's going to be St. John. And now it's going to be like a music venue. That's awesome. And then for Sydney,
right beside the best diner in the city.
Is it beside Tops?
It's right beside Tops.
Oh.
Literally beside it. You share the parking lot.
Oh, right on. Okay, yeah, I didn't know where it was going to be, but I know how much you love Tops. And I know how much they love you.
It's gonna be great. What's even crazier is Haven is going to have an espresso machine, so I can drink Americanos there, and it'll be great.
Yes.
I literally won't leave. I even asked if I could work there.
There you go.
On the marketing side and actually just serve coffee again, because I love talking to people and talking about music and serving coffee. So I was like, that's a great way to do it. But yeah, they're right beside the diner, so I love their location.
Yeah, that's great. No, I had no idea where it was. For some reason, I pictured it on like Princess or something, but
yeah, it's like the usual spot, but they were just like, no, what? No. And they were on the show right before. But it was actually St. John's first opera house. So they're actually bringing back a lot of the history.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of like fate that they got that one, and it's been really cool. And like we had gone up to see the Cancer Bats for the 2 nights at the Cap. What was it, like a month ago or something? And brought up Abby and Sid, and I just said, you know what, like go ham on the logistics of the Cap, for example. Right?
Yeah.
Like you're opening a venue, and be picky about if you're behind the bar and you want to have a microphone to be able to MC things, like when a show gets over, and like making sure people have adequate space to get out of the hallway or go to the bathroom. That's when you know to write down like the specs of having a microphone set up and everything in the bar.
Right.
And it was really crazy because I forgot how small like the Cap really was, because it'd been years since I'd been there. And we saw like Comeback Kid there, and it was awesome. And I mean, I went both nights and it was sold out both nights. And I mean, people are just really happy to be in a place that's safe. So if you can amp it up and make it like have really great sound, make it a place that people want to come in, that they're safe, that they're, can have some parking and whatnot, and like have a coffee instead of getting liquored up. Like it's pretty cool. Like, and
Absolutely.
like the stage is massive. Like I would say that Haven is probably 10 times the size of the Cap. Easy.
Yeah, I'm so interested because I've only ever seen like their like Instagram stories or whatever. So I have no grasp on like what it's like. And I'm sure me and literally most people. But yeah, we have been in contact with them. We're ready to come back to St. John and fucking
I'm sure
baby.
Stoked to have you. And when you guys are here, we'll have to make sure that we come do a quick on the move podcast with you in the band.
Or you guys can come up here.
Yeah, you can more than welcome.
You can check out the new setup.
Hell yeah, I got a lot to say, but so does the other fucking 5 members of the Hypochondriacs. So
yeah, anytime.
A whole lot of them.
Happy to chat.
Yeah.
No, and we really do appreciate you giving us the time. I know it's hard, like after nights and you work and everything like that. So thanks for giving us a bit of time tonight. We do appreciate it.
You know, like I said, today was my St. John day, so I drove down to St. John this morning, got tattooed by Josh Peters at High Tides, went to go
Another
see
Strange Grooves guest. Yeah.
Yes, because his amazing country album. And then I went and visited some old coworkers at the Pickeroons General Store.
Nice.
And then I drove home, took a quick nap, and now I'm talking to Strange Grooves. So it's
What a
been
day.
What a day.
Yeah.
And full
a fucking
circle.
great day. Great day.
Full
Yeah.
circle. for sure.
Yeah, because the episode we recorded with you, you were living above Pickeroons.
That's true.
Yeah.
That
So
is true.
back at your old place. So
That's true.
And I was dating a St. John girl, and I don't think I was living in St. John at the time, but I did eventually move.
Yeah, you did for a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, that's
You
right.
know.
Man, that seems like a lifetime ago.
right.
But it wasn't. That's so strange.
Really wasn't that long ago. But yeah, but here we are.
But here we are.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much again.
Thank
And we
you.
really appreciate your time. And you're
You
always
ever-
more welcome to come on the show anytime. And if we're ever up and about, we'll send you a message for sure.
I love attention. So anytime.
We'll give it to you. It's
All
no
right.
problem.
Done deal.
Why I do what I do, you know?
Well, thanks so much, Josh. We appreciate it.
And
Thank
thank you.
Until next time,
keep it strange.